This memory.
Oh, I forgot the microphones. Okay, that never happened. Good afternoon, Reuben.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Pretty well, thank you. Really want to dive into your childhood growing up and then also your experiences personally from transitioning from public school to private school and seeing the differences between the two.
Yeah.
And then also dive into your perspective of the Southern FM and seeing your take versus the other Reuben we've already had and we've heard his story.
Yeah.
So yeah, Reuben, how would you describe your childhood?
Pretty relaxed, actually. It was quite a bit of travel for me as well, just mostly around Australia.
Yeah.
But,
Whereabouts in Australia?
well,
If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
I originally lived in St Kilda until I was around 2 when my younger brother was born.
Yeah.
And then we moved into Beaumaris.
Mm.
And then for actually still ongoing, around every Christmas we'd go to Perth to see my grandparents.
You recently came back from Perth.
Yeah, I got back like maybe a week ago.
Yeah. How's that trip?
Really good, very hot, lots of sun. Yeah.
Must have been a lot hotter than here.
Oh yeah, I mean yesterday was pretty warm, like Christmas Day was 42,
Yeah.
so.
I guess that's just like Australia for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with your traveling around Australia, have you been to every state and territory?
I've been to every state, but not every territory. I haven't been to Northern Territory yet, but
Yeah.
I count Tasmania as I've been to it, even though I was there on like a stopover from a flight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'll count it for now, but until I've actually done like a proper trip there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also been seeing some stuff on like your page. You've been doing like a lot of hiking and a lot of cool camping trips.
Oh yeah.
How often do you do them? And when you do them, what sort of preparation do you put into it?
Well, I usually do them through Scouts.
Scouts, yeah.
So I don't do much of the prep, but I do play some part in it. So that takes about maybe a few weeks. The trips are usually only for a weekend, of a very short amount of time. And hiking, most of the time I do my hiking between April and October. In the times outside of that, it's a bit too warm to do. And I do them like once a month around then. Camping trips, maybe every few months. But they're pretty fun. Like I did this year, I went to the snow on like we went to Mount Baw as a group and just did some beginner skiing stuff.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, I went to Mount Sterling and did some snow camping and hiking there, which was really, really fun.
With like tents.
Yeah.
How is that? Because like it must be really cold, but you're in a tent rather than like the cabins.
Yeah, it is really cold, but you gotta be very well prepared. My sleeping bag is rated to like -10 degrees or something.
Right.
So what you do, when you sit down your tent, you flatten out the ground. As soon as you lay the tent down, you know what a vestibule is?
No.
So on the outside of your tarp, you'll have the main tent and then you'll have the waterproof shell on the outside. And typically at the front, there'll be a gap in between the tent and the front. So that's what a vestibule is. Typically you'll store your gear in there so it's not in the tent. But in the snow, you got to dig a hole in that bit so you can swing over and you can put your feet down in there, but also act as a wind blocker. So if wind's coming across, it just gets trapped in there. It doesn't go into your tent.
Right, yeah. What's the biggest reason behind that? Is it like just because like the turbulence?
Yeah, bit of stability, but also so you don't get cold really.
Oh, right. There's like sore heat as well.
Yeah.
In a way.
It's because during the nights it was like -6 around then, and if you add the wind in, it'll get like to -15. It'll get freezing cold.
Right.
So just limiting as much cold as possible.
That must have been a pretty fun adventure for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've never been like on a proper camping or hiking trip. I've always like wanted to and I'm hoping on the channel maybe like do like a cool video around it as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like for beginners, what sort of like advice or how would you recommend people to enter that sort of world? Because there are some risks involved. Like you got to be more prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend if you've never had any experience in hiking, just start with day hikes because they're easy and you don't need to take as much stuff. Once you feel like you're fine to move into overnight stuff, make sure you have all the right gear, and I highly recommend and I'd even say this is mandatory. You have to go with someone, just for safety, and even better, go with a small group. Not only does that help with safety and like everyone stays accounted for, but you can split the weight and it actually becomes easier for everyone.
Easier.
Do like just one night ones. Eventually you'll start to feel like, oh, I can carry more weight. I can walk longer. I can walk faster. I can walk further. Then you can start bringing up how long you're walking for. The longest hike I've done was 6 days. That was with school actually.
Right.
But that was really fun. And we did like maybe 100 Ks over that. But it was a lot of varied terrain as well.
Was it Kokoda?
No, it was actually through Mount Sterling area again, but we started like way far away. We walked like 50 Ks to Mount Sterling and then another 50 from there,
Yeah.
which was really good.
How many of these adventures have you been on? Like all these hiking
Oh.
and camping ones?
So many. I've done three hikes through school, but then a lot more through scouts. Like I'll do maybe 3 or 4 a year at least through scouts.
And like with scouts, what sort of scout organizations are there like around here? Because I've heard of scouts, but I haven't like really seen them as much. And like what sort of organizations were you with when you were with scouts? And what sort of ages are there?
Yeah. So there's the group I go to. I go to First by Morris Sea Scouts. So during the summer, we're out on the water, sailing, kayaking, paddleboarding, snorkeling. We're doing all this sort of stuff. But in the winter, we move into just more stuff inland, and we in this hall, so it's not freezing cold.
Yeah.
So there's that one. I used to go to Third by Morris before then. Unfortunately, that has closed down due to a number of reasons, mainly just lack of involvement and a bunch of stuff like that. Around here, there's Sandringham, there's Hampton Scouts, there's there's first 14th Brighton Sea Scouts, and then there's 15th Brighton. They're similar, but they're in different parts of Brighton. What else we got? There's 5th, 6th Moorabbin, which is just over that way. And then there's Bentley as well. That's all the ones in this area.
Yeah. Are they also like competing with each other on certain things?
Kind of. There's a bit of banter between a lot of them, especially between the 2 Brighton ones, saying which one's better. But I know people from all of them. So, yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a really fun sort of thing to get into, especially like as you're growing up, like with these different skill sets you get to try and learn them together. Is it like expensive, would you say?
Compared to what we're actually doing, it's not too expensive. I'm not too sure of how much the fees are. I think it's only a few $100 a year, but that gets you like all the access to every camp, every hike. And then I have to pay a little bit extra just towards the scout group to help them keep running. That's like $40 a year. So it's relatively cheap for what you're actually doing as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Would you say the scouts is what got you interested to do the hiking and the camping trips, or were you already interested in that before scouts?
Most definitely on the hiking bit. And on the camping side, it kind of just pushed me more towards that. I'd done a bit of camping previously with my dad and my family and that, but I didn't know how to like properly set up camps and that. But as soon as through scouts, I could do everything properly.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you recommend scouts for other young people?
Yes, definitely. It's a very good way of making friends. It's lots of awesome experiences that you'll talk about for years and years.
Yeah, because you're still currently doing scouts.
Yep.
And with your mates you've made in scouts, how is it like until you're 18 you stop, or do you kind of have like a senior scouts that you continue?
Well, there's 5 age groups in scouts. I'll start with the lowest, Joeys, which is from ages 5 to 7. Then there's Cubs, which is 7 to 11 and a half. And then Scouts is 12 to 14 and a half. And then Venturers, which is what I'm in, is from 15 to 18. And then Rovers, which is 18 to 25. Okay. So you'll see the most amount of people probably in Scouts and Venturers. But from what I've noticed, a lot of people, they stay in for the entirety of Scouts, but once they get to around 16 or 17 and veterans, they'll start to taper off because, you know, school starts to take over a bit.
Yeah.
So which is what I've done my best to stay as involved as I possibly can.
Yeah. And with school, like taking or being like more of a priority and taking place on the topic, I know you've recently moved, well, maybe not recently, but you've moved schools.
Yeah.
How was that process and what made you decide to move schools?
So the process was pretty smooth. It was relatively smooth. The only thing that wasn't smooth is dates between Balmoral and St Leonards didn't really line up. So I ended up moving to St Leonards a week before Balmoral actually finished the year. So I moved and I had my 3-week transition period. So then I got to figure out where all the classes was. I got to figure out how everything worked. I made some silly mistakes of, we have PE, but they didn't tell you that you had to wear uniform, or like you weren't going to a class and you had to go to this place. So it was just a trial and error process really of finding where everything is. And you'll find this as well in Bowie. There's a system for the naming of the rooms. Like we'll have, take for example, S2.13. So that's senior school building, floor 2, room 13.
Oh.
That's how it's kind of similar, like they had like M12 or
Yeah.
stuff like that. So eventually you figure out how to work it all. And it was kind of a joint decision between me and my parents. And my parents hadn't always been happy with the way how Bowie taught their topics and stuff. And we went to their open day one day. I've always been against it. I was like, I feel like I'll be out of place there. But I went there and I realized the opportunities there were probably better for me. So then we started the process of application and getting through in there. And eventually we got in, which is really good. And I spoke to another teacher. Do you remember a teacher in year 7 called Miss Douglas?
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Yeah. Last year, she actually moved to teach at St Leonards.
Right.
Which is funny. And even funnier than that, she's now my new homeroom teacher and maths teacher this year. And I was talking to her about why she left, and she had similar reasons to me. And she said she didn't like the way it was very similar. She didn't like the way how she had to teach the kids, and she wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah. And in what ways does St. Leonards start teaching differently? Is it because of the private school system where it's no longer like a government school, it doesn't have to do the government protocols, and it does, or is there another reason?
I think the main reason is because at St Leonards they don't offer VCE VM. It's, you either have to do VCE or you got to do IB. So IB is a much more difficult course. However, it is a course that's acknowledged internationally. Unlike VCE, like I'm trying to work on studying overseas. VCE, trying to convert it to other countries' education systems, it's like a bunch of different conversions and extra tests and that. While IB, you get a score and then you can go to any school and go there.
Right. That's pretty cool. And IB stands for?
International Bachelorette.
Right.
So, yeah, the international bit, pretty self-explanatory.
And is it like 99.9 or is it like a 1? Like, what's the scoring system? A, E?
I'm going to go off what I know because I don't do IB, but I have a friend who does. Each subject scored out of 7, and your entire grade counts on 3 different things at the end of the year. So your exam, an extended essay, and something else that you have to do in class. So it's all that. So it's a lot more stressful. But I believe you'll get scored out of 50 overall, but then it'll get converted to an ATAR, of which I think all IB students gets an ATAR above 90.
Yeah.
Because such little people do it, but it's so much more difficult that if you get anything above like a 30 out of 50, you'll get like a 90 ATAR or something.
Right, yeah. And the IB subjects, is it like very advanced mathematics, like English wise, it's what sort of?
I'm not sure about a lot of subjects, but I know how advanced maths is and all the languages. So, you know, you have foundation, general, methods, and specialist in
Yes.
BCE. General maths in IB is just a step above methods, and then advanced math is harder than specialist. So it's very high accelerated, and all the language course they expect like a very high prior knowledge to it. So it'd be like maybe it'll be quite harder than any regular language course in VCE, I believe.
Yeah. And what do you find the biggest kind of cultural differences between the public schools at Bowie and then the private or public and private schools in general?
Mainly, I think all the students at private schools, they tend to take their schoolwork a bit more seriously. Typically, it'll be no one. I'm going to say this as a general statement. I don't think anyone would go to a private school just to end up going to TAFE unless their parents have forced them. I know one person who has, and he didn't really care the whole time. He just kind of cruised through.
Yeah.
But another one, possibly in private schools, everyone's a little bit more supportive of work, and like the baseline of expected work is higher. Like say I got a B in something, which is a 70%. I'll go to my friends, I go, hey, I got a B, and they go, oh, that's not too good. And everyone will be like, oh, I got like an 85, I got a 90. A lot of classes will be like that where most students are getting above 80%. And you'll feel like you need to work harder to get there.
Yeah. So you kind of surround yourselves with a high level of work ethic
Yes.
that pushes you to, I guess, excel in your own capabilities.
Yeah. Like I've had to do that for methods. I started off the year really badly. I was getting like 50% in a test. And then throughout the year, I ended up getting a very good regime of if I didn't finish it, I'd go home, I finished it straight away. And I'd be getting 70s, 80s. I even got like a 95 at one point on a test. So I did push myself, and it did pay off in the end.
Pay off, yeah. With the private school, how much different is the actual kind of land or the kind of school grounds versus Bowie? And I believe it's from prep to year 12.
Yeah.
So is there a huge crowd of people?
I'll correct you a little bit. It's actually from ELC to year 12, so it's even wider of a gap. So it's a pretty big area, but compared to other schools I've seen that have the same range, like Caulfield Grammar and the Knox School and Mentone and Haileybury, it's relatively small compared to those kind of schools. So I think we have somewhere around 2,000 students across the whole place, which compared to other schools, that's not a huge amount. But there's main building. There's an ELC building. There's a prep to year 4 building. There's a year 5 and 6 building. There is then a middle school building, which is years 7 to 9, which also includes the science buildings in there. Then there's senior school, years 10 to 12, but also there's music building as well, which is really good, which I like to see. And then there's another building called Merton, which is only for year 12s. And on the top floor is a dedicated exam space.
The IB is in the same like kind of senior.
Yeah, they share classrooms, but it's just the topics they cover are a bit different.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you find the clubs versus the ones in Bowie?
There's definitely not as many, and more people. I think more people would rather just stick around with their friends and just talk than go to clubs. Like I used to be very big in clubs, but that was mainly because I could get other people to come along with me, and I'd meet new people through there. It was really good. But the club selection here is pretty limited. Most of the clubs are actually more like subject helps, that you'll have maths help on a Thursday. They changed it. In a Tuesday morning, you'll have music help on a Thursday lunchtime. A lot of the stuff that happens, for me, I have my lunchtime, two of my lunchtimes taken up by some music stuff, which is really good. And I have two bands before school as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty full on, yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been playing in those bands?
In those bands, I started on one of the before school ones pretty soon after I got to St. Leonards. And then over time, I've picked up a bunch of them. So now I've been brought up, I think I'm currently in 4 different bands at school across a range of genres. I'm in 2 jazz bands. One of them is actually a competition band, which will be going to Mount Gambier in May.
Right.
There's a contemporary rock band as well, and then I'm also in choir, which I chose to do as my teacher told me it would help me in my music performance class.
Must be pretty interesting playing on all these different bands for these different like bandmates or like fellow musicians. And a lot of people, or at least the few musicians that I know, a lot of them kind of try to be loyal to like one band. They have struggles like staying together, not breaking up. Like one person doesn't want to do any music or someone else wants to move on somewhere else in their life with study or work.
Yeah.
How do you find balancing all these different bands and playing between all of them?
It gets a bit of a struggle sometimes. Like some bands are a bit easier than others. For me, I'd say the rock band is the easiest one for me. That's the kind of band where I can learn something just from listening to it. Say we're playing like Seven Nation Army, for example. I know the line already, so I can show up. I don't have to look at anything and they go, okay, we're playing Seven Nation Army, and I'll just play through it. I find that pretty easy for me, but then there's some other bands like the jazz band, which is the competition one. I have to do so much practice for that.
So much.
It's very difficult, but it does push me to do more. The other jazz band is a improv one, so I'll learn just chords and I'll make up stuff over that. And then the choir one, I haven't really worked on rehearsing for that one, but I think going into this year, I'm probably gonna leave 1 or 2 of them just as I can focus more on some other stuff.
How was your year 11? Because that's like your first big year for like senior studies, usually like with VC and stuff. How did you find that at St. Leonards?
Coming back to term 1, the first full term of VC was pretty hard hitting. Like I hadn't realized how much extra work you had to do on everything. So I was trying to keep up with everyone, but everyone already knew what to do. It was a little bit of a struggle, but eventually I did get the hang of it. And you'd be at home and you'd still adapt into your normal like year 9, year 10, like, oh, I'll get home. I finished all my work already. I'll just go out. You can't do that. You have to keep doing extra stuff. And as in year 12, it'll be the same, but even more. I mean, you're doing less subjects, but it's still just more work.
Since you play music, how long have you been playing instruments and when did you learn them? As well as how many instruments can you play?
Okay. I've been playing music since I was 5, maybe.
Right, fine.
So I started off on the violin actually, until I was about. I think I was only on violin for about a year maybe. I wasn't very good. I still have the violin in my house. I don't use it. Then from 6 till end of primary school, I played piano, and then from year 7 until now, I've played bass. And just starting last year, I picked up double bass as well, so I can play electric and upright, which is really very good. But I'll say this as well, it's very good advice, I believe. I think if you want to learn music, you can learn, you're like, oh, I want to play guitar, I want to sing. I think go do that, but also learn how to play piano. Piano is probably the most important one because it teaches me hand-eye coordination. You get an understanding of how notes fit into chords. You start to learn how to read music properly. You can read in both clefs. It's really good. It helps you accelerate your theory and your physical ability.
Yeah. So piano might be the best instrument to learn straight up.
I believe so, yeah. It's pretty easy to get the hang of. Like my brother, he doesn't do piano lessons. He's been doing drum lessons at school, but he doesn't really want to do them. At home, he'll listen to a song and then he'll look up on TikTok how to play this on piano, and he'll just learn how to play it. And so then whenever there's piano somewhere, he'll just play it. But there's no theory knowledge. It's just for fun, which I believe that's fine as well. If you don't want to play music as like a full career or a hobby, just learn some stuff for fun. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like YouTube videos like with like popular viral songs that like have the piano keys falling and stuff like that. Yeah. What do you most like and dislike about St. Leonards?
I like how much focus I have on music.
Yeah.
Because in every assembly and big school gathering, they'll have at least one music item. And even if they don't, they'll put out a call to anyone. Like, even if it's a solo person doing something, you're allowed to do it. Big emphasis on music. Like, they got a whole building. It's mandatory music until like year 8. But you'll notice if from year 9 onwards, the people doing music, most of the times, that's people who actually want to do it. And you'll get such a very high level of people who want to do it. They're like, I'll dedicate a lot of time to it. I'll keep pushing forward. And you just get a very high skill level. Like 2024, there was this trumpet player in our top jazz band. And we went to competition. That band came 3rd in the entire country. And he won an award. He was a trumpet player and he won an award called the Golden Mouthpiece. Which is, it's not an award that's handed out every year. It's only an award handed out when one of the judges thinks someone is deserving of it. So it's only been handed out 3 or 4 times ever. And he was one of the recipients. And now they've replaced the award. So he was the last person to ever get that.
Right. Yeah, that must be really impressive. And one of the questions I want to ask you was, because you play in these bands and all this music, do you have any music up online that we can find, like Spotify, SoundCloud? And would you be planning to upload any?
I currently have a music Instagram, which I'm working on getting some stuff. I'm working on a few songs right now. I don't want to put anything up until it's like almost finished. So everything's still in drafting stage and that. I do have a SoundCloud as well. That's about it. Eventually there'll be stuff up there. Currently there's nothing there, but more things will come.
Yeah. And would you be looking to do any collaborations with some artists that you know?
Hopefully, yes, in the future. But I just need to work on like my personal skills first.
Maybe Reuben K.
Maybe actually, that might be a good idea.
He's got a music Instagram as well.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, that'll be good. Now, bringing back Reuben K.
Yeah.
You two had like a show on the Southern FM, the radio show in school at your old school, Bowie.
Yep.
After you moved, did you continue doing the radio show with them, or was it a conflict in schedule?
After the other Reuben finished year 12 and left, I did keep going, especially, and I've still stayed in contact with Bjorn as well. So he helped me, guide me through on how to run the panel and everything, which is really good. I only done a handful of shows after Reuben left. I did one show from Bjorn's house actually, which was really fun, and we got Reuben's brother Luca. He was walking past and we got him on as well, which was pretty fun. I still have my membership to Southern FM, so I can still run shows if I were to plan them. I just need to remember how to do the panel. But yeah, I haven't done too much in terms of that, but I do like to think that it's good that I had that experience.
How did Bjorn run it in his home when he's not at the actual radio station?
So they have this like wireless kit. So when there's a radio station at like an event, they'll have one of these kits and it helps the wireless transmitter back to the studio and then it broadcasts out. So it was just a bunch of microphones plugged in and some extra panel stuff and a computer attached to it, and it was pretty simple.
And when you were running the show, what sorts of topics and conversations would you usually have? Or was it kind of like just a bunch of like kind of more random, maybe podcasty type?
I think it was a mix of podcasts and normal radio show stuff. We had some games that we'd play. We'd have some history stuff. When we did it through school, we had a thing called Would You Rather with Mr. Slocum's son. And it was, as I said, it was Mr. Slocum's son asking us Would You Rather questions, and we'd have a little conversation about it. Another one, we'd have like This Day in History. We'd have famous birthdays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we'd always have like an interview eventually, yeah.
Did you also manage to film or keep some of like the episodes that on like your own like personal drives and be able to like upload it?
Maybe. I might have to ask Bjorn. I don't think I have anything. I just have photos, I think. But I might have to ask Bjorn. He might be able to ask them for audio files and stuff. but I think I don't have them. I don't know who has them. I think there's somewhere at Southern FM, but yeah.
Because then it would be pretty cool because you could always start your own channel podcast, like
Yeah.
Joe Rogan style, but in like the studio. And with music, would you be planning to take your career in that direction, being an artist?
Kind of. I'm kind of torn between a creative career as music or like a serious career like engineering, which is what I'm currently gunning for in school. Like if I were to do full focus on music, I wouldn't be doing the subjects I'm doing. So I've always treated music as a career, as a plan B if my engineering hopes don't work out. But hopefully they do.
Yeah. Or if you kind of don't enjoy engineering after a while, you could always just flip the script and then maybe it turns out great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe be like an engineering musician. Have some unique songs. Yeah. And with engineering, where would you be planning to do further study at after high school?
This has been interesting because I've had a few thoughts about this recently. Currently, as I've said, I'm trying to work on getting overseas. Currently, I'm looking at 20 University in the Netherlands. It's in this little town. I'm completely forgetting how to say it, but it's on the border between the Netherlands and Germany. It's just around there. It's just a little bit. I actually have an ATAR requirement, which is very rare to see. So I need an 88 to get in, which is a little bit higher than if I were to stay here, which is an 85. So I'm aiming for around that area. If I'm not able to get into there for any reason, I'd probably be looking at somewhere like RMIT here. So yeah, the main draws of actually going to the Netherlands is, in the long run, it turns out to be cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
As I have or will be getting an EU passport soon, tuition's only €2,000 a year. For your first year, accommodation is free on campus, so you can focus on school and that. So it's actually really beneficial to me for how it all works.
Do they teach in English or do you have to learn their language?
They'll teach in English, but they do expect by the end of the course you've learnt like, I think maybe C1 or B3 proficiency in Dutch, which is relatively simple to get over 4 years.
Yeah. How much Dutch do you know currently?
Nothing, I'll be honest.
Are you bilingual in another language at the moment?
No, I know some words. I know some bits of German. I know some bits of Italian. I know bits of everything, really.
Yeah. Now I kind of want to get back to your traveling because I think you went through some places in Europe.
Yeah.
How many different countries have you been and what sorts of places and kind of journeys you've had in them?
I'll backtrack a little bit. In 2015, it was the first time I ever went international. I flew to London with my dad to see some of his family. I was there for about 2 weeks. Really fun time there, really cool. But then I didn't go international again until 2023. When I went with school on a trip to New Zealand for 10 days. Really fun. It was end of October, early November, and we went through the mountains and we went up, there was snow up there. Really fun time. Awesome views. So good. And then this year, or 2025, I did a trip with, it's a little bit complicated. Me, my mum, my brother and my dad, we all did a trip to Europe. It started off, me and my mum and my brother, we all went to Greece originally a week before my dad because he hadn't finished work yet. So we all went there, we lounged around in Greece for a while, we got adjusted to the time zone, got adjusted to the currency and all that. And then after that week, my brother flew to Denmark to meet my dad there as he was doing some football thing, which he got asked to do. And then me and my mum, we flew to Munich in Germany for a day, stayed there, went to Oktoberfest, had a great time. Then we hopped on a night train to Milan.
Milan.
In that day, we went down to Maranello, to the Ferrari Museum, went around there, came back, and the next day we took a train up to Interlaken in Switzerland. We bought a Eurail pass, which was very lucky for us because there was a bunch of track closures because there was a storm the night before. So instead of the original route, which was Milan to Zurich and then Zurich to Interlaken, we had to go take a bus to Como by Lake Como, which is a really amazing place. A train from there to Lucerne, and then another train from Lucerne to Bern, and then Bern to Interlaken. So a bit of a long way around, but it was fun. Went there. The next day we went up a train up to Jungfraujoch, which is a mountain of elevation 3,500 meters. So you just take a train up there. Very cool. Lots of snow. Very cool. I was not dressed properly for the weather. I was just wearing jeans and a puffer jacket.
Yeah.
I was pretty cold. And then the next day we took a train across Switzerland to this place called Kur. Stayed there for a night and then hopped on a train called the Bernina Express.
Bernina Express.
Yeah, it's part of a UNESCO World Heritage Railway through the mountains. It was really amazing. Some of the best views I've ever seen.
Right.
Went through to this tiny town in northern Italy called Tirano. Got some pizza there, obviously. And then a regular train back to Milan and then a high-speed train down to Rome. And then flew back from Rome back here.
So they've got high-speed trains kind of similar to Asia.
Yeah, there's a lot. They had lots, very, very well-developed high-speed trains in Italy. I went on one high-speed train in Switzerland, and we went through the world's longest railway tunnel, which is like 50 kilometers or something. They have high-speed trains in Germany. However, I didn't go on any of them because we weren't really exploring around there. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff.
I've heard Switzerland has a very advanced train system and railway system.
Yeah.
They've even got trains going up a mountain from inside.
It's very interesting. I watched a video on how they run their trains.
Yeah.
So in every major hub, like Bern or Zurich or Basel, they'll have trains leave on the hour and every half hour. So at, say, 8 a.m. and 8:30, they'll have it from there and they'll work on between them. They'll always get trains to arrive 5 minutes before then and they'll always leave within 5 minutes of them. So it's very advanced of how they've run everything. Like, that's why the trains, 94% of them ran on time last year from what I've read. They're so nice. They're all so clean. Everyone respects all the rules. So you're in a quiet carriage, it's just dead silent. There's cafe cars on a bunch of trains. It's such a nice experience.
Do you think we could bring some of that to Australia someday? Or is our culture and the way our country's kind of been built up not really compatible with that?
I hope they bring it here one day because it'd be really cool. But I think the way how Switzerland's run it, they're able to do that because, again, it's a very small country. So they have those shorter distances which they can run in quicker times. While here, I've heard some stuff about high-speed rail. They're trying to run it from Sydney to Newcastle as a test, which cuts it down from like an hour and a half to 30 minutes. I hope that gets up and running because that would lay some stepping stones as like they could run a route Melbourne to Sydney to Brisbane. That would be the dream route.
Revolutionary.
Yeah. I've taken the train between Melbourne and Sydney before. That took 11 hours.
That must have been pretty interesting.
No Wi-Fi. It's a very interesting journey with lots of legroom. It was very comfortable. It was better than sitting in a car.
Because even by car ride, I think when me and my parents went, it took us like 12 hours because you have to keep stopping at gas stations as well. Yeah, but if it takes around the same length, it's probably better on train. Yeah, I mean, but if we get bullet trains like across all of Australia, that would be amazing for us. Like,
Yeah. It would be very cool to see one day you'd be able to take a high-speed train from Sydney to Perth. Like, I would say in one day, but that's 3,500 kilometers, I think. It'll be over like a day and a bit because currently that train's like 4 days. But it's expensive. I've seen it in person when I was in Perth. That train's like 800 meters long, but I've looked at how much it's like $3,500 a person.
Right.
But yeah, I'd be very interested in doing that one day, and I really hope we can get some high-speed rail going up in the future.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. I feel like, because right now they're doing a lot of like the underground rail systems and like the suburban loops and stuff and the East Link and all of that. And that's basically running on the same sort of train technology, just under the ground.
Yeah.
Are they planning to like remove all the trains from the surface so it's only underground, like subway style?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think it's very cost efficient if they were. I understand making them underground throughout very like high density. So like through the city with the metro tunnel, they had to put it underground because there's no space above ground. So in all these already built up areas, they have to do them underground. Like I can see where some things are going. Like they're going to extend the suburban network out to Melton as well. And they're going to get like they're going to try put higher speed trains, like 200 k's an hour to Geelong, which would be really good actually, because it takes an hour already, and putting it faster. And there's so many people that live in Geelong that work in Melbourne.
How fast is a normal train from Melbourne to Geelong?
Like time or speed?
Or speed?
Speed. From what I've read, maximum operating speed is only 160 k's an hour.
Yeah.
But a lot of areas aren't built up enough for that, so most of the time you're running at like only 120.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I was in Italy, on the train to Rome, that goes 300. It's so... I was in business class, you're just sitting down there, you just look you see the world just going past. It's so cool.
Yeah, that'd be so good. Like, it'll be exciting to see if that's our future.
Yeah.
Would they be interested? Because right now they're doing a lot of like the underground suburban loops. So maybe at the moment they're probably not going to prioritize the bullet trains on the surface, unless they can do it under the ground.
Possibly, I'm not too sure. With the suburban rail loop, that's from the first bit's 2035 is going to open, from what I've read. From Cheltenham to Box Hill, I think. That's a great... I've been from my house to Box Hill before. It takes like an hour and a half. That cuts it down to like 30 minutes. It's really good. I don't think it's the best use of money. I'd rather get an airport rail going up now. I'd rather get an extension of some rail networks to some other areas. Like, I like what they've done in Perth. When I first went there, they only had, let me count, 5 different rail lines. Now they're up to like 8 in the time that I've been there. They got an airport rail going up, so it's really easy for me to get from the airport to my grandparents' house. I've only had one bad experience, which recently I had to go buy a pair of shoes off a guy off Facebook Marketplace in this area called Harrisdale. So the train lines run like that in this area, and Harrisdale's like in the middle there.
Oh.
So it took 40 minutes to get down to the nearest train station and another 40 minutes on one bus to get to that area, which just those newer development areas, they just need a bit more connection. And I think it's the same here with all these, because they've run out of space in central areas like here. They've had to put it out way outskirts. So all these new suburbs, which are part of suburban Melbourne, they're all on V-line areas. So I think a better use would be extending the metro network out to these new developments, just so it's a bit easier for commuters to get into the city.
Definitely, yeah. And I guess on a similar topic, right now with Brisbane preparing for the 2032 Olympics, they're building a lot more like public transport and rail systems and stuff like that. And I mean, how long does it take to develop like a bullet train technology in like a country for like a relative distance?
I know it takes a while. Like I've seen videos from Japan. They're very perfectionist with their trains. Like I was watching a documentary, they'll run a train and they'll get a coin and they'll balance it on their side. And if it falls over, they got to redo stuff because it means it's not stable enough. But a lot of the trains, they'll only go, they're maglev trains, which will go like 500 k's an hour. That's been in development for like 20 years because they're trying to make it perfect. I mean, for us, we can just buy these trains, but I think the main problem is that you need to have a rail line which is up to standard with no problems in the track. You can't have rail crossings. You just have to have the track to be up to standard and very safe.
Which is what might be the hard part. Because I don't think we have like contractors that are ready to make that sort of stuff in Australia unless we pay international ones from Japan and Europe and other places to come. But it will be cool to see. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited where the future could take it.
Yeah, somewhere.
With the Olympics happening soon, what sort of like new developments are they planning around that? Are they like making new public transport that you've seen, or?
I believe they're making some new stuff. Like I know they've had Cross River Rail, which helps with getting again across the river. But that's all I've really known. I know they're doing some extra stuff to connect to the Gold Coast, but that's all that I know. I haven't been to Brisbane in about 4 years.
Yeah.
So I haven't read too much up about that.
On another topic, I know you've and definitely from like I think a recent reaction from one of my stories, that you go to the gym.
Yes.
What sort of clubs are you with, and did you start with that club, or did you have to move from another club?
Well, I actually originally started with the gym at school.
Mm.
I started going just once a week because I was like, I'll get my fitness up. It would be better for me. So I did that until around for about a year and a half. After 2 days a week. And I didn't know how to program anything, so I was kind of just doing whatever. But then midway through 2024, I was trying to convince my dad, get me a gym membership. And he did for me and my brother. And we started going to Revo Fitness, the one in Southland originally. And we went there 2-3 times a week. And for a while, I was like, yes. I was like, I'll go if I feel like it. And last year, I took a very serious stance on what I was doing. And I did meal planning, meal prepping. I tracked all my calories for like 4 or 5 months to lose weight. And it worked. I lost like 9 kilos, which is really good. But it was around then when I realized, okay, what I want to do, and this helps me with scheduling as well, find when I'm free, go to the gym, find time for homework. During that time, I was only going 3 or 4 times a week. I'm going to try keep up with 5 times a week when school starts, but now it's like 6 days a week or something. I'll just go whenever. But it's really good. I have my program worked out. I have to do it in a specific order. I have to do certain exercises. It helps really well for me.
And from your trips in Europe, what are some other things that Australia could do to improve itself? Whether it's like government, economic, or whether it's transportation and like architecture.
One thing I noticed is currency. It's a very weird thing. I don't think you can fix this here, but comparing some things in Europe to here, I realized if you live in Europe and you come here for a holiday, here is relatively cheap compared to Europe. Like, well, you can get a whole meal here for $20. Well, in Europe, that's 12 euros. Well, I could get a whole chicken gyro for 4 euros in Greece, which compared to here, that would be like $15 here. There's so many things they do there differently. I find that they value their history there more than here. Because in the city, a lot of the old buildings have been knocked down. A lot of buildings in the northern suburbs especially, they'll have a lot of history behind them, and developers, like, that's prime land, we want to get rid of it, and just with enough money, they'll get rid of it. But in Athens, in Rome, they haven't allowed any of that because there's so much ancient history there, they just can't allow it to get knocked down.
Yeah.
So they have these really weird layouts in the cities where it's just like kind of melds around these things. While here, it's just like, if there's a building in the way, they'll get rid of it. It's better if you just like go around it. It's more natural, I find. The one extra thing, I think quality of food in Europe is a bit better as well.
Yeah.
Especially in Greece, the food there was amazing. In Italy, the food there was amazing. Switzerland, I haven't really had much Swiss cuisine before, but it introduced me to the world of fondue, I'll be honest, and that was really good. Switzerland's just expensive in a standard. It'll be like 35 francs for a fondue, which is like $70.
Oh. Right.
So it was really expensive. That's why we weren't there for that long. But the quality of food there, because just everything's so well made, everything's put together so nicely.
I heard Europe has a lot more regulations as well on certain additives and chemical, artificial like flavors and all
definitely. One thing I noticed as well, it's very specific. When I was on a train station in Switzerland, I got given a small sample can of Fanta. So it was a 200 ml can, so it was really small. But I prefer it over anything that we have here. Because you look at the ingredients and it's like the juice concentrate in Europe compared to here. I think it was maybe 15% orange juice in Europe. Well, here it's like 5%. So there's way more additives here. There's definitely more regulations in Europe, but I think that actually helps with how things taste and the quality of food.
Yeah. A lot of like, I guess, mainstream media and like certain, I guess, independent media, a lot of them like to portray Europe as, or parts of Europe currently under sort of downfall because of like crime and like lots of laws that are kind of not doing the best for citizens. When you were doing your trips there, did you see any of like the crime or the gangs or any of that?
Not really. Like in Rome, I had my wits about me. You've heard all the stories about like, Rome, a lot of pickpockets and that. I didn't see any, actually. It's either that or like they're just very good. But you do have to have your wits about you. Athens was probably worse in terms of crime. I was on the first day in Athens, just coming from the airport. We were walking down the street and it's a Sunday. So everyone's at church. Everything was closed. It was like 8 a.m. Walking down the street. We're going to put our luggage in like a luggage storage area. And I see out the corner of my eye, this random guy just start moving towards me. So I'm like, this is not going to end well. So I just turn the corner and go in the building and he walks away. But it was very much more dodgy in Athens, I think. Most of these things that I think the media is saying about crime and all the laws and stuff, that's mostly in Eastern Europe, I find. So like you'll get that in all
Bulgaria, Romania, or like Slovenia.
mate, that as well in the Baltics as well. Around there, yeah, I see what they get that, but towards Western Europe, it's a lot more developed and advanced, especially in Germany, Switzerland, Italy, France, Spain, all those areas in Europe. They're very well advanced and just very nice to be around in.
Yeah. And when you went on your trip to see your dad's family in the United Kingdom, how was the United Kingdom looking at the time? Because nowadays it gets the kind of reputation as like knife crime and all of that.
Yeah.
How was it back then?
Well, I was 7 when I went there. I remember some bits. It was in September, so it was pretty cold. Again, I was a child with my dad. I wasn't really gonna be affected by much crime there. But my dad, he recently went back like a few years ago, and he was actually stopped by a guy and trying to steal him for his phone. All my dad kept walking, and the guy like motioned in his hand that he had a knife or something, but he just like kept talking to him and that, so he wouldn't be able to do anything. And he eventually got away, but he could definitely tell where all the crime was and all that. But there is definitely a reputation there for crime, and I believe it is very much true. I've seen videos and I've heard stories from people.
With like the regulations and all the stuff like Europe does around with food, do you think it'll be possible for Australia to implement it, or do some of the companies have a tight grip on our politicians and with a lot of like, I guess, bribing and sort of that sort of stuff?
I think you can get some aspects in, but I think mainly because of our climate here, we need to rely a bit more on chemicals just because stability around where food can and can't grow is a bit spotty. But I believe that some bits can work. Like, I'll take my Fanta example. I think that you can put less chemicals in that. A lot of drinks I have, definitely the amount of chemicals in there, you can limit it. Pretty simple. That's what I think, really.
Yeah, and also because we're in the Southern Hemisphere, that means during the summer, because it's in December, January, we're closer to the sun than the Northern Hemisphere summer. And that might have another effect on our production of food and that sort of stuff. Now I like to use a little list of questions that my mom's made. It's kind of like a bit deep questions or thought-provoking. What or who is your greatest pride in life?
I think I'll say possibly, it's a bit, this is on the what side, probably my music skills, I think. Because I think they're pretty well developed compared to other people.
And with your engineering, like when you were doing it, what area of engineering would you be interested to get into? Like aerospace or more industrial? Like what?
I think I'm mostly aiming for civil engineering and possibly even through that maybe leaning towards architectural engineering or something in the railways maybe.
Yeah.
Around that.
Maybe you'd be making our bullet trains. What do you consider your most striking and useful strength?
I think I have relatively good logic and pretty good problem-solving skills.
Tell us about the best piece of advice that has brought you the most positive outcomes.
It's going to be something that probably my grandfather said. He always has lots of wise words of wisdom. He's someone who's lived every day like it's their last, which I think is a very good way of thinking about life. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to wake up at 3 p.m. and go to bed at 4 a.m. It's like, that's just a waste of a day, really. Go out, do something that you enjoy.
What would you like to learn in the future?
I think probably something in the architecture field, actually. Like maybe how to design like building facades or something. Like how, this is another thing. I've been learning this recently through a game that I've been playing. And it's all about how traffic flow is. It's really interesting of how it works. And like I've been working with designing highway interchanges in game. It's really fun, but it's a lot of thinking and like, okay, if this car wants to go this way, how does it affect the rest of them? And it's where all the lines are and it's interesting, yeah.
Tell us about your ideal day.
My ideal day, to feel good about myself, it would be wake up at 7, go to the gym, come back, then for most of the day, then hang out with my friends for most of the day, then come home, have dinner with my full family, including my grandparents, and then have some fun time on my games and then go to bed around 10 or 11. That'll be, if I could choose how everything would work, that'd be perfect.
How do you respond to criticism?
I'm not sure. In some situations, I don't take criticism very well. In some other cases, I'll take it on. A case where I won't take it on well is if I've done something which I believe to be like really, really good, and someone says, oh, this isn't that great, you should work on this and this, sometimes I'll ignore them like, oh, this is really good, I don't need to listen to anyone. But in other cases where I'll be like, I'll do something and then it's just a case of, oh, that wasn't my best work, and someone's like, yeah, you just need to improve on this, I'll take that. So it all depends on the situation, really.
Definitely, yeah. Which childhood dreams have you made come true? Which is a bit early to ask.
Probably my skills in music. Because if I compare how much skill I'd progressed in piano from when I started to the end of it, not as much as I've done from when I started playing bass to now. Like, way higher levels of skill in bass than I did piano. So I
Yeah.
think probably music skills.
Who did you admire when you were a kid?
My dad or my grandpa, or I had this old scout leader, it was called Wes. It was a really cool guy. He was an engineer and he knew how to fix a bunch of stuff. So I found, looking at how he did things, it was really interesting. With my dad, I think it's just his determination and obsession over some things. And then my grandpa, with all the experience he's had, has been so interesting to hear stories from him.
If you could meet your younger self, what would you tell yourself?
Enjoy the times you have with your friends, because sometimes you won't always have the time to be with them.
When you were a child, what did you want to be and why?
The first thing I started thinking about was like, oh, I'll be an astronaut. I think that's pretty basic between a lot of people.
Nowadays, it's more basic to be an influencer.
Yeah. And then for a bit, I was like, oh, I want to do YouTube stuff. And I moved into, I want to do building. And that was around year 4. And I told my grandpa that, and he's like, you should do engineering then. And for a while, I stuck with that, not knowing what engineering was. And then only maybe in year 8, year 9, year 10, I started looking into it. I was like, okay, this is it. And I've very much become focused on, yes, I want to do this.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Depends on the situation. I'm kind of a mix of both. I think when I'm just walking around, I'm more introverted, I think, because I'll walk around with my headphones in, I'll just play music the whole time. But then, say I'm on a scout camp, I'm extremely extroverted. If you see me on a scout camp, I'll be doing stuff that I would never do here. Like, I'll be very loud, I'll be, like, going up saying random things to people. While back here, I'll be just, like, keeping to myself.
What is the most common misconception about you?
That I'd be like a very smart person. Like, I don't think I'm like extremely smart. By smart, I mean like someone like, oh, I do specialist maths. I get like top marks in physics. I do all the sciences. I'm not like that. I'm pretty standard between anyone. I'm like pretty middle of the range in physics. I'm like middle to top half of my methods class. I'm not like hugely smart in a lot of aspects, but I think that's probably one of the misconceptions.
What is the greatest compliment you've ever received?
I think it was a music performance as recently, actually. I don't think I played that well in it, and I didn't really practice for it. I was very underprepared. But the next day I saw a teacher that was watching and they're like, you played really well. And I was very amazed. I was, thank you. I've taken that recently because I've realized how little I can do and how much it can achieve. So if I did more, how much better I would be.
And more in like what regard, like louder or more longer length of the song?
More just like accuracy and precision, and more how much it sounds to me.
Who has had the greatest influence on your life?
Probably my friends, I think, because without my friends, they wouldn't have pushed me to do certain things. There's some things that I wouldn't have done or gone to or seen without them. Like one of my friends, he's gotten me more into movies and stuff. So I've been watching more and more films recently, and I see how he sees things, and he might be like, oh, you should watch this. It's a 4-hour movie from the 70s. I'm like, I don't really want to do that. But I will eventually get around to doing that. It helps to see just some other things, especially in aspects that interest me.
What is one of the greatest challenges in life?
Staying focused and managing time.
Especially with this era of social media, phones, AI. Well, Reuben, looks like we're about to wrap it up.
Okay.
I like to finish my podcast with the Marcel Proust Questionnaire.
Okay.
Shall we begin?
Sure.
What is your idea of perfect happiness? My
idea of perfect happiness is to be able to do anything that you think you're very good in, anything you want to do, without judgment. Like, I've restrained myself from doing things because I'm just thinking, oh, what will other people think? It has limited my opportunities a bit. There's been cases of just like, who wants to do this? And I haven't put my hand up just because my friends were like, why are you doing this? This is weird to do. Perfect happiness is you're able to do something without caring what the other people think.
What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear used to be spiders, but I think it's more now. I'm not scared of too many things. I think a little bit cliche, a little bit scared of being judged by others. Yeah, a little bit scared of public speaking, I think, as well, maybe.
Even though you're like a public performer.
Yeah. Well, that's not speaking. That's a bit different. I'll
Yeah.
always get nervous, and it's good to get nervous at a performance because it means you care about what you're doing. Speaking for me is a bit different. I think I treat it the same. Like when I'm doing performances, I'll walk on without looking at anyone. I'll be looking like dead ahead. I'll be looking somewhere else. When I'm performing, I'm looking down or I'm looking like up and out, not at anyone. It's only towards the end when I'll start to look at people. And that's when my nerves calm down. And I think that's the same for public speaking as well.
What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
I think my procrastination. I do a lot of procrastination, and it's not good for me. It's not good for school. I have a music thing to do tomorrow, and I should have been practicing, but I haven't really. I've been out. I've been doing other stuff.
What is the trait you most deplore in other people?
Probably just their judgment.
Which living person do you most admire?
It's gonna sound really bad to say this, but I can justify it. Kanye West, mainly because of how he thinks he can do anything. He started making beats, and then everyone thought, oh, he can't rap, and then he proves he can. And then he ventures into doing fashion, and that's great success. And he does all these other stuff, which just because he thinks he can do it, he just does it, and he does his best. Not all the times will it be good, but he'll always try his best, and it'll always just be something
I
interesting.
think he also ran for president one time.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It wasn't maybe not the best idea, but again, he thought he could do it, so he just tried to do
He
it.
doesn't really care what other people think because he has like some very controversial stuff. With,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
stuff that I don't think he really understands as much, like Nazi Germany, that sort of stuff. What is your greatest extravagance?
Food. I can name exact things. It'll be energy drinks and any food really. I'll have a lot of food. If I know a cuisine, I'll try some stuff.
And with like the European special cultural dishes, did you find lots of like European shops around Australia? Because I've only really known like the Turkish kebab places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You'll find a lot of Greek kebab places as well, which is really good. I am yet to find a Swiss restaurant in Melbourne, and I'm still trying to find one. You'll find Italian everywhere. I know of one German place, the Hofbrauhaus in the city. I've never been in there, but I want to go there one day. You'll find Greek a lot of places. You'll find Italian a lot of places. You'll find not as much French, but they'll be around.
Yeah.
And I think the harder ones more Germany and Switzerland. They're pretty difficult to find here.
What is your current state of mind?
Pretty relaxed, but also still thinking about, I should be doing some stuff for school and other things.
On what occasions do you lie?
To my parents. Sometimes to my friends. Like, I'll lie to my parents more than my friends. My friends, because I feel like I can tell them more. But I will very, very rarely lie to my friends. Usually because it's what another friend has told me. And they're like, oh, what did they say about, what did they talk to you about? And I'll just say some random things.
What do you most dislike about your appearance?
Maybe my body fat around my waist is probably not great for me. And then I got a little bit in my face, but I've cut that down quite a bit. It used to be my arms were really bad, but now I've built them up now, which is good. I think the other thing I need to work on is just like thickness in my forearms.
Which living person do you most despise?
Not despise. I can't say for anyone specifically. It's a type of person. It's someone who they've made a preconceived image of you and they've just decided they don't like that image of you. So there'll be someone, you're like, oh, I'll be doing this, and then they just won't talk to you. They just shut you off. I don't think I know anyone specifically like that, but there are people like that. I don't like those kind of people.
I do have one person in mind that I know at school that has that personality. What is the quality you most like in a man?
Communication probably, and like confidence to just like do anything really.
What is the quality you most like in a woman?
Also communication. Communication is a very big one for me, because I've had a few bad things due to lack of communication.
Which words or phrases do you most overuse?
It used to be, until I was around 8, I used to always say like in every sentence. And then my grandpa pulled me up on it. He said, you shouldn't be doing that because it means you're unsure or something. So I stopped doing it. It's actually helped me a lot.
Yeah.
But I think probably saying like and all that, because I've seen a thing like if you're talking to someone and you cut out all the ums and ahs, it comes off as you speaking a lot more clear and more interesting. It feels more powerful as a speaker.
Yeah, definitely. I also have to work on my likes and all of that. And I found when editing, like if I'm making like a reel and I'm cutting out like the likes or ums from myself or a guest, it definitely comes off a lot more confident and more fluid and like more clear, the message that they're setting.
Yeah.
Well, what or who is the greatest love of your life?
My family probably would make the most sense.
When and where were you happiest?
Summer holidays, 2024, 2025. That was one of the greatest I've ever had. That was just before VCE kicked off, so I really didn't have to do much. I was very close with all my friends at that time, and it was so nice. I would be outside like every day. It was some of the best holidays. But now it's similar. I'm still outside every day, and I'm going out with my friends more and more. But it's just the looming fact of school's coming back, and you got to do so much to prepare for that.
Which talent would you most like to have?
Better endurance. I don't have great endurance if I'm doing a run or a jog, I have to stop every few minutes. That's probably because of my asthma. I feel like if I had better endurance, my fitness would be way better.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
How much I procrastinate. Like sometimes procrastination is fine, but you need to make sure you know when you're doing it and know how long you're doing it for and knowing how it affects you and that. I think another one, how much I'm on my phone. Because that's not good. It counts as procrastination as well. I'll go to bed. I'll be on my phone for like half an hour, 45 minutes before I go to bed. Like recently I've stopped doing that. I've been taking magnesium glycate, which actually helps with muscle recovery and like I'm falling asleep better. Like I slept for 9.5 hours last night. Yeah. So it's been really good. It's been helping me a lot.
Do you ever use like a social media block on your app, on your phone or like some phone?
I've tried. I find that what happens is I end up just like keep checking it to see when the time is over. It's not great. Like I have a study timer. I stopped using it because most of the times I work like within 5 minutes of either side of that. Like I'll say, okay, I'm going to study for an hour. I'll do 55 minutes. Which is it's close enough. I probably should start using social media blockers more. I'm going to start working on it this year. I'll just try to get off more and more.
One thing that I've used that maybe has been helping is like a going to sleep mode or like a grayscale mode where after about 8 o'clock, it makes my whole screen go black and white, like just gray.
Yeah.
So like there's no colors, none of that like bright distraction.
Yeah. I mean, I have a filter on it. It turns off the blue light after like 8 o'clock, which is really good. But it's still like my phone's really bright and like I have an issue on my phone right now where like the right side of the screen, there's just a big white line because I dropped it. So yeah. I've been putting electrical tape on top of it to block it out. It kind of works, but I'm just going to be working on filtering out all those distractions over this year.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
Greatest achievement, probably how much skill I have in hiking, because I've realized I can hold a lot of weight on my back. I know my limit, but I've taken steps to reduce how much I've carried. Like on a standard 2 or 3 day hike, my bag will weigh like anywhere between 12 and 15 kilos, which is relatively light compared to other people. Like on my 6-day hike with school, everyone was carrying 18, 20 kilos. My bag was 15. I was going through. So they gave me the heaviest thing to carry, which is like a big tarp, which is like 2.5 kilos. So they gave me that. My bag was still lighter than a lot of people. So it's just a lot of knowledge of knowing, okay, how can I cut down on weight? What do I need? Like I had smaller bags than everyone else as well. I've spent a stupid amount of money on hiking stuff, but it has helped me survive through those situations.
If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what would you be?
I would hope to come back as either a tree or maybe even like a whale. I think whales are pretty chill because they're big enough where nothing really harms them and they just like kind of float through.
Where would you most like to live?
Munich in Germany. I loved it there. When I was there, I saw how they run everything. They're so efficient with everything. The city there is so nice. Everyone's so kind. I'd love to have an experience just to live there for a bit.
And then you'd have to learn German probably.
Oh yeah, obviously. Like I tried to learn German for a bit through Duolingo, but I realized that Duolingo is not that great in terms of things. So I have 2 friends. They both speak fluent German, so I just learn words off them.
A cool system I kind of started learning because I saw like someone on YouTube who also did a video on like the Switzerland trains. He did a video where he found or used the system that the US military used to learn a language quickly, which was making a spreadsheet of 150 of the most used words in that language and then having the English translation next to them.
Okay.
So you can quickly learn just the pronunciation and even without grammar, how to get people to understand you and how you can understand other people.
Yeah.
And it could be a cool, fast way to learn like German, for example. What is your most treasured possession?
Maybe probably my bass, my red electric one and my double bass.
And what kind of brand is your double bass?
I'm actually not too sure. My dad got it for me from this shop. Oh, I've blanked on where it is, but it's really nice bass and all that. I don't know what brand it is. I need to look into it.
Yeah.
I just know it sounds good.
Do you know like different guitar brands and like which ones are good, which ones are?
Yeah, obviously, standard one's Fender.
Mm.
That's the pretty standard one. And then they got their offshoots, like Squire, which is their cheaper versions. Then you got like Ernie Ball. They got some interesting stuff, and they collaborate with a lot of people. You get like Ibanez, you'll get Yamaha, you'll get like a bunch of stuff. There's such a range of instruments you can buy for different needs.
What are your thoughts of the one that Reuben got, the Silver Sky? Oh, I forgot the first part, but it's like a Silver Sky
Yeah.
guitar.
I haven't actually seen it. I need to look. I need to have a look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you know on that one.
Yeah. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery?
Lowest step of misery. Grief. I think you'll always feel sad when you're grieving. It's not like you're depressed or anything. It's like a different version because you want the sadness to stop, but you don't know when. A year and a half ago, like I lost my dog. That was a very sad time for me for a few days, but eventually it took me like a month before I was fine. The determination of just, you will get through it eventually, but it will just take some time.
What is your favorite occupation?
Occupation, I think being like a train driver or like a tram driver would be a really interesting occupation to have. I love those. I like transport, I'll be honest, and I love to see how it works. I've looked in cockpits on all these things. I see how they work. They just do all these things. You understand the signaling, and like you understand of how everything works. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And I was speaking with Luca, and I believe he mentioned to me that they earn maybe like 100K train drivers,
Yeah.
like a really good salary. It is kind of just maybe repetitive, like you just have to have fun for hours.
It's very repetitive, but it's important, and it's like a government entity, so it's kind of like a very essential thing.
What is your most marked characteristic?
I'm not sure actually, because I know the ones that seem very inconspicuous for me, but I'm not sure the ones that stick out the most. I think maybe, like again, back to the misconceptions question, I think that's the one that sticks out the most. But it's a misconception. It's not like an actual characteristic.
What do you most value in your friends?
My friends, the ability to communicate and like consolidate when, like, say I'm talking to one of my friends and they're like, oh, something's really bad happened to me. Like, the ability to have empathy and like be able to just talk to them about anything and be able to make sure they feel comfortable.
Yeah. Who are your favorite writers?
Favorite writers? I'll be honest, I don't read that much books anymore. I probably should get back into reading more and more books. This is a book that I had to read for school, Station 11, Emily St. John Mandel. That book was really good. And I spoke to a lot of people in my class. Well, the person I sat next to, he didn't like it. He was like, I don't really relate to it at all. I think this is good advice for anyone. It's easier to study something that you enjoy than something that you don't. So that's why I don't really like English that much. Like maths, I enjoy maths. So I'll keep going with that. I find that pretty easy for me to understand. But in English and that, it's pretty just like, it's like you write about something. You have to understand like analysis and like, you'll read a sentence, you're like, okay, how does this convey this message to the reader? You got to understand how that. It's a bit more difficult for me.
Who are your heroes in real life?
My dad, my grandpa, obviously. And I would have to say as well, my two scout leaders, Peter and Brett, which I currently have. They've given me a lot of knowledge, with Brett more on the hiking side and then Peter more for camping and that. They've given me a lot of knowledge throughout my time at Scouts.
And who is your hero of fiction?
Maybe, weird choice, Billy Butcher from The Boys.
Yeah.
Because obviously all the stuff he's doing is very wrong, but is very good thoughts behind it and meaning.
And Billy Butcher, he's the one with no powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say no powers, because if I say anything, I'm going to spoil stuff. Have you watched it?
Yeah. I've seen up to a point, and then they haven't like released. Basically, I'm up to the season that
End of
they
season
were up
4?
to in like 2022 or 24, 3.
Okay, yeah.
So like the newest season I haven't seen. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I won't spoil anything, man.
All right. What are your favorite names?
Favorite names? Oh, there's nicknames my friends have for me that I can't really say because they're a bit rude. But my tennis coach, he calls me Rue, which is actually, I find it funny. I've heard Rubes a lot. Yeah, that's about it, really. I don't really get too many names. It's a bit difficult.
Are they your favorite, or
My favorite one is Rue. That's a good one.
what is it that you most dislike?
Doing something that I hate doing, but I have to do it. That's probably the best way to describe it. This is a very specific example. Last year, I set myself a goal. I tried to listen to one new album every day. And for a while, I would just be like, oh, I'll listen to good ones. But then I would get interested in artists. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to listen to everything. So you get to like that one album that's really, really bad, but you just have to sit through it to do it. I hate doing stuff like that.
Yeah. What is your greatest regrets?
I think probably there's some stuff I've done in the past to other people, which I'll say, which is not great ideas on my behalf. I don't want to elaborate on that, but probably that stuff. If I talk to my friends about it, they'd know what I mean. But
How would you like to die?
it's gonna be either just like very peaceful or doing something that I love, like, or go out in a blaze of glory, just like
Guitar blows up.
yeah, something like that, like a burning, like running into somewhere, like saving someone from a burning building or something, and like as I run out, the building explodes or something like that. That would be cool. But
Thank you, Reuben. Appreciate your time.
All
Thank
good.
you for being on the podcast.
all good.
Have a good day.
You too.